Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're diving into something that really caught my eye from our source material. We're looking at why relying on perfect conditions, like, say, a completely quiet office or getting exactly 8 hours of sleep, might actually mean you're fragile, not strong. Seriously, have you ever noticed how much of your daily success just completely depends on things going exactly right? If your routine gets thrown off even a little bit, does your whole day just fall apart? Well, today we are tackling this exact problem by exploring how your obsession with comfort is secretly your greatest enemy. So, let me ask you something right off the bat. Are you actually strong, or are you just comfortable? It's a pretty provocative question, right? To figure this out, we're gonna break down the legendary samurai Miyamoto Musashi's Zero-Dependency Rule and look at how to stop negotiating with our own weaknesses. All right, let's just dive right into it. Section 1, the illusion of strength and why perfect conditions make you fragile. To make all this ancient philosophy actually actionable for us today, our sources present a highly relatable proxy, just a smart, totally normal engineer named Lucas. Now, Lucas was your classic example of the fragile mind. He was completely at the mercy of external factors. If his boss was in a bad mood, he froze up. If he just didn't feel that spark of motivation in the morning, he's hitting snooze 7 times. But this contrasts so sharply with the unbreakable mind, a mind that executes relentlessly, completely regardless of whatever is going on externally. 60. Think about that number for a second. That is the staggering amount of life or death duels won by Musashi without a single loss. He didn't survive all that by pure luck. He relied on a notoriously strict manual for mental and physical fortitude. And that is exactly the system Lucas decided to adopt for his modern life. Moving on to Section 2, the Principle of Elimination, removing the conditions for success. Musashi literally lived by these 3 bold words: have no preferences. He trained with wooden swords, he trained with 2 swords, sometimes he trained with no sword at all. Why? Because he knew for a fact his enemy definitely wasn't going to wait around for him to be perfectly comfortable before attacking. So for Lucas, applying this concept of elimination meant adopting a strict, zero-equipment workout routine. He forced himself to exercise using nothing but his own body and the floor. It didn't matter if he was tired, traveling for work, or absolutely miserable with a cold. By stripping away his dependency on that perfect gym setup, he basically proved to himself that he could perform in absolutely any condition.
All right, Section 3, Heiyoshin, or the everyday mind, maintaining presence under pressure.
So Heiyoshin translates roughly to the everyday mind. The whole goal here is to maintain the exact same mental state in the heat of a literal deadly battle as you would when you're just quietly drinking tea. And what's fascinating is most of us completely panic when our modern comforts vanish, right? But Lucas started practicing Heiyoshin by just observing his anxiety. Stuck in terrible bumper-to-bumper traffic, sitting through a brutal, tense meeting, he just watched those frustrated feelings bubble up without actually reacting to them. And you know what's wild? Modern science absolutely backs up this ancient samurai wisdom. Stanford neuroscientists have actually found that this kind of non-reactive observation literally rewires your amygdala. It physically raises your physiological threshold for stress. So you end up remaining completely calm and lucid while everyone else in the office is running around losing their minds over a crisis. Which brings us to Section 4, Zanshin, permanent consciousness and securing the victory. Zanshin is this deep understanding that the battle doesn't end when the enemy falls. It ends when you're actually safe. Think about it for a second. If you only maintain discipline during your 9 to 5 work hours, well, you're still entirely dependent on a schedule. Zanshin requires this constant, unwavering awareness so your weak, comfort-seeking self doesn't try to crawl back into those little gaps in your day. Lucas actually applied Zanshin by enforcing a really strict 60-second rule. Whenever he finished a grueling workout or even just a highly stressful meeting, instead of immediately grabbing his phone for that quick dopamine hit like we all do, he forced himself to sit in complete presence for 1 full minute. He absolutely refused to tune out. Section 5, the ultimate test. Let's see what happens when the worst-case scenario actually arrives. So picture this. By day 105 of following this hardcore zero-dependency protocol, Lucas faces a massive real-world test: sudden, company-wide layoffs. Now, the old Lucas would have absolutely spiraled into a panic attack, but instead, His mind didn't even move. Because he'd eliminated his dependency on ideal outcomes, he stayed totally calm, immediately updated his resume, and managed to secure 3 new job offers within weeks. While his colleagues were completely paralyzed by the shock of it all, he acted with unshakable clarity. The crucial takeaway here is that by internalizing elimination, Hayoshin, and Zanshin, Lucas basically killed off the version of himself that negotiated with weakness. He stopped relying on everything going perfectly, and because of that, his discipline stopped being just something he did. It literally became who he was.
30 days. Now it is your turn to step up to the plate. Our sources issue a direct challenge. Identify just one dependency in your life right now and eliminate it completely for the next 30 days. Consider some of these common dependencies. What is it for you? Is it your quote-unquote perfect morning routine? Is it your reliance on taking scheduled rest days even when you secretly know you could push through? Or maybe is it the psychological comfort of needing everyone around you to like you? Ask yourself which of these comforts you are actively choosing over actual capability, and then declare your commitment to eliminate it down in the comments.
Now, why put it in the comments? Because doing this publicly is actually a brilliant psychological hack derived directly from the source material. When you declare a goal publicly, it forces your primitive brain to treat failure as a literal survival threat. It raises the stakes massively, making you far, far more likely to stick to the path and actually follow through. Look, it is time to stop choosing comfort over capability. It's time to stop negotiating with your excuses. Let the warrior be bored and ask yourself this one final crucial question. What comfort is secretly keeping you weak? Think deeply about that, take some action today, and we will see you in the next explainer.